or good night, actually. It is Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and we are getting ready for our live stream fishing show. So hopefully you're ready for a great show. Gonna get started here on Facebook. How y'all doing, guys? Thanks for tuning in. It's Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and we are getting ready for our live stream fishing show. That's right, it's Sunday night, December 22nd at 8:23 p.m. If you are watching live, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Sit back, relax, grab your drink. We are going to get started here very shortly. If you're not watching live, you can skip forward to where you see the video start. We're going to start right around 8:30 p.m. So if you are not watching live, if it's not Sunday night, December 22nd at 8:23 p.m., you can go ahead and skip forward to where you see the video start. If you are watching live, sit back, relax. We are going to get started here very shortly. Make sure you comment where you're watching from. Don't forget to tell your friends to tune in because we want to get to 400 live viewers, and then someone's going to win a free 39-hour trip. So make sure you tell your friends. Make sure you share this video with your timeline or your favorite fishing group. So that way more people will tune in because we want to give away some free trips. We are going to give away a free 5-hour half day for two. We're going to give away a 10-hour all day for two. And then we're going to give away a free 39-hour trip for one guest if we get to 400 live viewers. If we don't get to 400 live viewers, someone's going to get a half price 39-hour trip. Still a great deal, great value, but we want to give away a free trip. So help us spread the word. Share this video to your timeline, to your favorite fishing group. If you're watching on YouTube, give the video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. We'd appreciate it. And then sit back, relax, guys. Comment where you're watching from. And make sure you like us on Facebook. If you have Instagram, don't forget to check out Hubbard's Marina on Instagram. We also have Snapchat as well. Look up Hubbard's Marina on Snapchat. That's right, we are on Snapchat now. Trying to figure that part out. Honestly, I'm not that good at it, but it is entertaining to watch me learn. So check out Hubbard's Marina on Snapchat. We'd love to have you join us there as well. Trying to stay better connected with you guys and trying to make it easier for you guys to find us. So make sure you follow us on Snapchat, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tonight we have a great show lined up for you tonight. We are going to be talking all about nearshore and offshore fishing. We're going to be answering your questions, and we are going to be giving away free trips. Plus, I've got a super special guest at the start of tonight's show. So definitely excited for our special guest. You ready, Jack? I think he shook his head yes. Jack is with me to start the show tonight, so I'm excited about that. But we've got lots of great fishing photos to share tonight, and we got lots of stuff to go over. We're approaching the last little stretch of gag grouper season, so we're excited about that. Gonna get our last chance for gags, and hopefully you're ready too, because it's coming up, and the gags is fast approaching, and we don't have too much time left to go get them. So hopefully we can take advantage of it, but let's go ahead and get this thing rolling a little early because my special guest has got to go back to staying busy with his toys. How you guys doing? It is Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and my son Jack. How you doing, Jack? Oh, that good, huh? So tonight we got a lot of stuff to go over. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to give away free fishing trips too. So lots of cool stuff going on tonight. So thanks for tuning in and spending your Sunday night with me. What's going on, man? You excited? He's bobbing around. So thanks for spending your Sunday night with us, guys. We're going to be answering your questions. So don't forget to pop your questions into the comment box below, and we'll make sure we do our best to get to those questions. And then also, what's up? He's trying to sit up now. So we're also going to be giving away those free fishing trips. In order to win a free fishing trip, all you have to do is comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook video. So just pop your comment in there and you get a chance to win one of those free fishing trips. And if you're watching on YouTube, you still have a chance to win, but you do have to comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook video. And then once you comment, you can watch on YouTube, you can watch on Facebook, whatever you want to do. Just make sure you stay tuned, because if you're picked as a lucky winner, you do have to text our page, or text us at 727-393-1947. Once you text us, that confirms that you are watching live, and you get that free gift certificate mailed out to you. So you do have to supply us with your home address as well. So make sure you text if you are chosen as a lucky winner to 727-393-1947. You ready to go back to mommy, buddy? All right. Here you go. See you later, Jack. Well, we are ready to get started tonight. We are going to be talking all about nearshore and offshore fishing tips, tricks, and more, and answering your questions. So we're looking forward to spending the night with you guys. We're going to be talking for about an hour, and we're going to get rolling right away, where we're going to start. We always start off by going over what we're catching now, showing some photos of what's been going on. So we'll get started inshore, show you some of those inshore fish that have been being caught lately, and then we're going to work our way near shore and then offshore. We'll talk a little bit about the weather, and then we'll get into your questions. So let's get started here with what's going on inshore. Right now, the big redfish are being caught in the Back Bay waters, especially around those oyster bars, those mangrove shorelines, those residential docks. Great area to target those redfish right now. Up into the Back Bay areas, those redfish are definitely kind of staying a little shallower and trying to stay warm. Great time to target them right in the mid-afternoon to late afternoon and into the early part of the night, when the that dark bay water, or dark bay muddy bottom is radiating heat. It really gets those fish excited. Plus the mullet right now are schooling up and flushing out, so these big bull redfish will follow those areas of mullet congregations, and a lot of times they'll be picking off those smaller finger mullet and smaller black mullet. So great opportunity to kind of go behind those mullet schools and drop a big dead bait on the bottom, and as that school moves past, those redfish will come up and suck up that dead bait, or a small live pinfish. The soft plastics are working really well. Just keep in mind, the cooler the water gets, the slower those fish are moving, so you have to slow your bait down a little bit more to make sure it gives an opportunity for these big fish to grab it. And let's see what else we got here. Sheep's head. Lots of sheep's head around right now. The sheep's head bite is going very well around the different structures. Bridges, piers, jetties, docks hold a lot of sheep's head this time of year. Small little pieces of shrimp, cut clams, cut oysters, barnacles, fiddler crabs, all great bait to target these target these sheep's head. And sheep's head are a very good eating fish. They're a little tricky to catch sometimes, but once you get them chewing, they really bite pretty well, and they're pretty aggressive, and they're a lot of fun, because typically you're targeting them with lighter tackle. So on lighter tackle, it makes those sheep's head a lot of fun. Typically around 15-20 pound test, about a 1 to 2/0 hook, depending on who you ask. And then lighter weight. You want the lightest weight possible. You're just barely enough weight to keep that bait presented to those fish around the structure. because you want to keep that bait as close to the structure as possible. So like if you're fishing a dock and that current's running a little bit, you might need a split shot in order to keep that bait as close to that piling as possible, because those sheep's head literally go around that piling starting from the bottom and work their way up to the surface, and they're looking for shrimp, crabs, and oysters and barnacles, and they're eating them off that piling. So you want to keep that bait right there against the pilings or the structure or the rock or the pier or whatever you might be fishing, because that's where those fish are going to be feeding. Great time of year to get those sheep's head, especially as we move into the cooler months, January, February, March, all great times to catch those sheep's head for sure. Also, the snook, a lot of snook around in the back protected bay waters right now, out on the flats, the edges of the flats, those residential docks, canals, great area to target these snook. We are catching some snook around the passes as well. Some young anglers were fishing on our dock this week, catching a bunch of smaller smaller snook, and fun to catch fish. But the big snook, the big breeder snook, the overslot snook are typically moving up into the back bay waters, trying to stay warm this time of year. As that water cools, those fish will move more towards the bayous and rivers, trying to regulate their body temperature. So definitely further up in the bay is where you're finding the bigger fish, but snook are pretty active through the area right now, as long as the water's a little bit clear. Right now the water's a little muddy behind that cold front, and with the big cold front we have going through kind of tonight into tomorrow morning, it's going to get even muddier. So a little tricky to catch those snook when the water's all stirred up like this. But through Christmas week, on the backside of Christmas, we're going to get a nice little weather window, and that should have those fish feeding well. These trout, on the other hand, they love the cooler weather. The stirred up weather gets these trout excited. Great time of year to catch plenty of speckled trout out on the grass flats, those edges of the grass flats, those potholes where those baits are being flushed. So you want to mind the tide and fish the backside of that grass flat, the backside of that sandy drop off, and let your bait kind of roll off of it, just like if a shrimp was being swept in the tide. You want to present your baits naturally in the same fashion out on the flats, and you'll catch a lot of these trout. And once you catch one trout, there's typically a few more trout in the mix. They're pretty, they tend to congregate in a small area, so real easy to catch a bunch of them once you catch one, because it kind of gives away the location and the behavior for the rest of the trout on that flat. But let's get into the nearshore waters. Hopefully what you guys are excited about hearing. Right now, the hogfish bite is going very well. We're catching a lot of hogfish on our 5-hour half days, 10-hour all days. Unfortunately, right now, it's been tough. I mean, we haven't been fishing in like 3 or 4 days. This weather has been really tough. But hopefully that weather is going to give us a little break on the backside of Christmas. So December 26th through 29th, we've got a little bit of reprieve from this weather. And hopefully we're going to be able to go out there and catch some of these hogfish. This past Saturday, so that was yesterday. Yesterday afternoon was our first trip in like 4 days. We were able to sneak out there yesterday afternoon on the Florida for a 5-hour half day. We did end up catching some hogfish and some gray snapper, but it was a bumpy trip, and this weather has gotten even more bumpy, so we're hoping that we'll get that little weather window that they're forecasting on the backside of Christmas to go out and get some more hogfish. But the good thing about hogfish is they're going to be open all the way through 2020, so we have January, February, March, and April, great times to catch hogfish too. So good thing about hogfish is we're in no rush. We have plenty of time to catch plenty more of these hogfish on our 5 and 10-hour trips. And they're doing really well on the 10-hour all days. Captain Frank's got these things dialed in, and Captain Bobby is doing real well on them as well on the 10-hour all day. Captain Joe, Captain Garrett, they're pulling them in. Captain Brian on our 5-hour half day. And then also the private fishing charters get a great opportunity to target these hogfish as well. So Either 10-hour or 5-hour great opportunities for hogfish. But if you want to if you want to go out there and actually target hogfish and have a real good shot at them, the 10 hour is probably your best bet, just because you get a little bit more fishing time. We have a little bit more flexibility, and there's typically more advanced anglers on the boat who want to also target hogfish because they're so unique. They're one of the last fish to bite, so it takes a little bit of patience. We have to fish a spot a little longer than we normally would on a half-day trip in order to get those hogfish chewing. And typically we're anchor fishing for those hogfish. So that's why the 10 hour is better, because we typically anchor fish more often on a 10-hour, whereas a 5-hour we're drift fishing because that has allowed us to get more action. But lately we've been getting man, I got a cough. As I was saying, lately we've been catching a lot of these hogfish on our half day too, because the anchor fishing on a half day has been working. So the anchor fishing on the half day has been producing even more hogfish too. So great opportunity to catch these hogfish, whether it's on the 5-hour half day or 10-hour all day. And we are catching a few of these gag grouper on the 10-hour all day. Not a ton of them, but we are catching a few here and there. And we still have a few more days to get after those gags. Gag grouper season doesn't end until the end of the day, December 31st. So we're trying to take advantage of as many gag grouper as we can before that season closes. We're also finding some of these red grouper mixed in with those gag grouper. So you never know when you're going to run across one of those red grouper. And then, of course, the hogfish. The hogfish bite, like I said, has been going very good. We even caught a nice cobia on a recent 10-hour trip with Captain Bobby. They ran across this cobia, or this cobia ran across us, I should say. And they definitely did very well catching this nice cobia right off the top of the water. These things will often just swim by while you're bottom fishing. So it's so important to have a pitch rod or a flat line ready in order to present those cobia baits as they swim by. A tail hooked pinfish, like 40 to 50 pound fluorocarbon leader, and about a 3/0 circle hook is a great option for those cobia. But those flare hawk style jigs with a little dark green soft plastic worm on them is a great option too, to try to use artificial jigs to present to those cobia as well. So these things are great eating fish too. Cobia are one of my favorite eating fish that we run across as far as pelagics. Cobia, wahoo, mahi, all really good eating fish. Another nice 10-hour all day gag grouper. Few of these gag grouper have been caught recently on the 10-hour trip. Nice hogfish, and this is actually husband and wife. They have come to a few Bass Pro Shop seminars and they watched the live show. They actually won a 39-hour trip and a 10-hour all day during the live show, and they've been using those to their fullest. And boy, can these two catch fish. So really cool to see them out fishing and taking advantage of those free trips that they won during this live show. So stay tuned. You might win a free trip, and hopefully you're going to be as lucky as these two were with their 10-hour all day and 39-hour catches. But again, more big hogfish. The hogfish bite has just been going so well. A few of these red grouper mixed in. This is actually the news director at Fox 13 News. This is the gentleman who made our Friday morning news shows possible. So pretty cool to see John out there catching fish. Let's see. Oh, that was the last photo. I was like, why can't I change? But yeah, real nice nearshore action right now. Few gags, lots of hogfish, few red grouper, and then that big cobia mixed in as well. So some nice catches. Jeez, this cough is killing me. Hopefully the Jameson will help. All right, let's see here. Offshore. Let's talk about offshore fishing, what they've been catching offshore. We've been doing really well on our 39-hour overnight trip for these gag grouper. We have the last 39-hour trip of gag grouper season coming up here December 29th. That is my father's birthday. And hopefully myself and my father are going to be going fishing on that trip as well. We do have some weather coming in, hoping that's not going to affect the trip, but definitely excited about that December 29th 39-hour trip that we added in the schedule, because we want to get as many of these gag grouper as possible before that season ends December 31st. So that is the last 39-hour trip before gags close. So we are going to be definitely going after them in a big way during that trip. So we're excited about it. Plus, on the last 39-hour trip, that 39-hour private charter, they caught a few, or they hooked a few and caught one really nice wahoo. So the wahoo are definitely been around out there in that deeper water and offshore, and we're looking forward to hopefully getting on some of these wahoo on December 29th trip too. So this was caught on a kingfish rig, being pitched out there. They were trolling up to the spot, and this guy holding the fish, you can't see him real well, but his name is OK, and he was trolling, got a massive hit, was peel and drag, broke him off. Then he put out a trolling lure again, got broke off again. And then when they got anchored up and started fishing, he started casting a kingfish, like little feather jig, and ended up hooking this guy, free casting it with like 30-pound fluorocarbon. It took him all the way around the boat, almost 1.5 times before Will was able to stick it with the gaff. But beautiful fish, and kind of crazy he was able to catch it on 30-pound fluorocarbon. But beautiful wahoo. Some nice gag grouper. This is from that 39-hour private charter. They had a great time out there catching some big gags, big mangroves, some nice red grouper. It was a great trip. Captain Anthony on the Flying Hub 2 has been catching some nice fish. Some nice gag grouper, red grouper, some big mangroves. The Flying Hub 2 has been catching plenty of these fish. Richie and Anthony got a few more 12-hour extreme trips. We added 2 new 12-hour extreme trips, one December 30th and one December 31st. Those are both brand new added trips to our schedule with room available for a last chance at these gag grouper. And then a few of these big red grouper have been mixed in. And then we've caught a few of these true black grouper too. So nice little bonus there, catching a nice true black grouper in with these big old gags and red group. So great opportunity to get out there and go fishing, because we've added that 39-hour trip December 29th. We've added that 12-hour extreme December 30th and December 31st. So lots of newly added trips to give you a chance to go catch some of those gag grouper before season closes. However, we do have some weather, and we're going to talk about that weather next. But I think it is time to give away a free 5-hour half day for 2. And jeez, haven't been coughing at all, and then start a live show and start coughing my lungs up for some reason. All right, so let's see who won a 5-hour half day for 2. All right, 5-hour half day for 2 goes to, remember, if you're picked as the lucky winner, you do have to be watching live. So Tim Roche from Crystal River, shoot me a text to 727-393-1947. 727-393-1947. Shoot me a text with your home address in the next 5 minutes or so, and that'll prove that you're watching live, and we can go ahead and send you that free trip certificate. That is a 5-hour half day for 2. So congratulations, Tim. And for the rest of you guys, we still got some more trips to give away. We're still giving away a 10-hour all day for 2, and we still have a 39-hour trip to give away too. Right now we are at 310 live viewers between Facebook and YouTube. So we still need about 90 more live viewers to get to 400. That way someone wins that free 39-hour trip. If not, someone's going to win a half-price 39-hour trip. But that's still a great option too, and a great deal as well. So let's see here what we were going to talk about. The weather. That's what we were going to talk about. So go to hubbardsmarina.com. Once you're on our website, you can go to fishing trips. Under the fishing trips tab, you can find the weather links tab. Just click on that weather links tab and it's going to take you to our secret, well, not so secret weather page. And I'm going to go over here to the wind finder forecast side, and I'm going to click on the 5-hour forecast for our half day and 10-hour trips. And I'm going to click on this 12-hour extreme and 39-hour forecast area. So we're going to look at the half day and 10-hour trip forecast area first. Then we're going to look at the offshore forecast second. So inshore around the 5 and 10-hour area today was not so good. About 4 to 6 foot seas, heavy rain, high winds. Tomorrow, not so good again. About 5 foot seas, high 20 knot winds, 22 knot winds, almost tropical storm force winds. Tuesday, Christmas Eve, still 5 to 6 foot seas, still 23 knot gusts, not so good again. Christmas Day finally starts calming down a little bit. Still really windy, but finally starts calming down a little bit to 3 foot. Luckily, on the backside of Christmas, December 26th, nice weather. Only 2.5 or less than 2.5 foot seas. December 27th, it's windy, but nice seas. Only about 2.5 foot seas. So the 26th, the 27th look like great days for the 5-hour half day or 10-hour all day. 28th, still real nice weather, only at about 2.5 foot. December 29th, only about 2.5 foot. Still a little breezy, but nice weather. We can pull it off. Then Monday, we get another big front, and it starts puffing up a little bit there Monday night into Tuesday. This has already changed since last time I looked at it. Last time I looked at it, that bad weather started Monday early. Now that bad weather's starting like Monday night. So now even Monday looks good. So that's really good news from the day after Christmas, Thursday, December 26th, all the way to Monday, December 30th. We can pull off half-day trips with less than 2.5 foot seas. Some high winds, but nothing to be worried about as far as seas are concerned. So that's really good news. Great opportunities to get some of those hogfish, get out there near shore and hunt some of those gags on our private charters, our 10-hour all days. But when we're talking about offshore fishing, now we're going to go to the offshore report for our 12-hour extreme and 39-hour areas. This is a little different story. Today it was 9 foot seas, almost 10 foot seas. Monday, real crappy again, like 7 foot, 8 foot seas. Christmas Eve, 7 to 8 foot seas. Christmas Day, it only calms down to about 4 foot. Then after Christmas, it's solid 4 foot. Day after Christmas, it's 4.5 foot. We are supposed to have an extreme trip this day. Then Saturday, it gets up to 6 foot. Sunday, it's 4.9, 5 foot. Monday, it's still almost 4 foot. Tuesday, it gets back up to 5 foot. So unfortunately, offshore, that weather forecast is a lot different. And that's mainly due to that high pressure that we have settling in the area on the backside of Christmas. So that high pressure with that east breeze and then that prefrontal south wind is what's making it rougher offshore. Whereas near shore, it's just going to be windy, but not super rough. So we're going to be able to pull off our 5 and 10-hour trips. It's just going to be breezy, but that's a good thing. That means we're going to anchor, and that means greater chances for hogfish. However, offshore, to get out there into the deep water to really catch a lot of those big gags, the weather's not looking so good. So we're really hoping and praying that the weather changes and calms down a little bit so we can get some of those extreme trips out We're hoping that that 39-hour trip, December 29th, isn't affected. Right now, it looks like we can pull off that 39-hour trip. Looks like those 12-hour extremes are in trouble, but it's too early to tell. All I want for Christmas is good weather. So if you guys can help me with that, I would appreciate it. So if you're looking to buy me something for Christmas, get me some good weather, please. We could use it. This weather has been crazy. And we're really hoping and praying that that offshore forecast lays down. But as I said, and as I mentioned, if you're looking for a 5 or 10 hour trip to catch those hogfish, from the day after Christmas all the way until pretty much the 29th, that weather looks completely doable. So we're hoping for the best as far as the offshore forecast goes, but we're looking good as far as the nearshore forecast goes. But that's what we wanted to talk about as far as the weather is concerned. All right, let's see what some of these questions are. But before we get into the questions, I think we're going to keep y'all on your toes. And I think we're going to give away a 10-hour all-day trip. So 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests. Let's see who won. 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests coming at you. Drum roll, please. Ed Cheryl Hardy from Toledo, Ohio. Remember, if you're picked as that lucky winner, you do have to message our page quickly because we want to make sure that you are watching live. So if you're picked as a lucky winner, make sure you message our page quickly so that way we can mark you down as a lucky winner, because we want to make sure that we give you those free trips if you're picked as that lucky winner. So let's see here. We still got that 39-hour trip to give away too, guys. So make sure you stay tuned. Let's get into some of these questions. One question was about keeping redfish and trout and snook. Right now in our area from Pasco County down south to, I think, Manatee County, you cannot keep redfish, trout, or snook. Those are all catch and release only, and they will remain catch and release only until end of May 2020. When we roll around to May 2020, what they're going to do is they're going to talk about removing that ban. But if they remove that ban, you still have those respective seasons in place. So some people were asking me about snook. Yes, if they remove the ban, snook will technically be open for harvest again end of May 2020. But as many of you know, snook are typically closed in the summertime. So even if they are open and the red tide ban is released in the end of May 2020, unfortunately it doesn't mean much for those snook because they're still going to be closed. Now, trout, redfish, that's a different story. So the respective seasons will still be in place on the backside of that May 2020 season, but or that May 2020 season, or that, I guess you would call it, red tide closure is released. But keep in mind, guys, as far as red tide is concerned, they have pretty much forecasted it to be totally disappeared out of the state right now. So that's really good news to see that red tide has pretty much diminished all across the state. So the last red tide forecast that I saw only had like background levels way down south. There was no areas of even low concentrations of red tide. So happy to announce that the good part about this cooler weather and this stirred up weather and this time of year is the red tide is gone. So real good news as far as that's concerned, because we definitely don't need any more red tide. We didn't have any red tide at all the last 12 months. We haven't had red tide since November of last year. So looking forward to a great next few months focusing on those red grouper, those hogfish. Great time to go after all those species. But all right, let's see here. What else do we have as far as questions are concerned? Another question was, you talked about pre-rigging for extreme trips. do you guys do use the double snell for these trips? Typically, when I am offshore fishing, or when any of our crew or captains are offshore fishing, we like that double snell rig when we're fishing dead bait. It really, really helps. Whenever you're fishing dead bait in deeper water, I'm always using that double snell rig. So when I'm pre-rigging for a 12-hour extreme trip, I would typically use that double snell setup on my snapper rod. And then on my bigger grouper rod, where I'm going to typically use live bait or bigger dead baits, I would use a single hook rig. And that's definitely the preferred method. Live bait fishing, single hook rig, dead bait fishing, double snell rig. And it doesn't matter if you're on a 12-hour extreme or those 39-hour trips or long-range private charters. The double snell is kind of my go-to when I'm fishing dead bait, just because it helps give an opportunity, or it gives more of an opportunity to hook more fish and be more successful as far as the hookup ratio is concerned. So a double snell is definitely a great option, no matter really what type of long-range trip you are on. Let's see here. Another question was, is there a best time of year to catch sheep's head? Yes, definitely this time of year is the best time of year to catch sheep's head. Anytime the water is really, really cool and we get these cold fronts coming through, stirring things up, making that water muddy, it's definitely the best time of year to catch those sheep's head. So cold front season, starting around late October into all the way through April, typically is a really, really good time to target those sheep's head. So if you're looking for a best time to sheep's head fish, this is the time of year to do it. Don't wait. Another question about sheep's head I saw was, do you use artificial lures to catch sheep's head? Typically, I don't use artificial lures. I don't know if anybody uses artificial lures for sheep's head. Typically, you're fishing a small piece of cut shrimp or a cut piece of oyster or cut piece of clam, barnacles, fiddler crabs. Those are kind of your sheep's head go-tos. They're right up against that artificial, or right up against that dock piling or that bridge or that rock. So working artificial lures for them would be very difficult because they're so hugged tightly around that structure. So you don't really have an opportunity to present them artificial lures. Now, I have seen people catch, and I have caught sheep's head on artificial lures, especially when the sheep's head are out on the flats, or when you get out to an area where you find a big congregation of sheep's head moving out to spawn. You can catch them on artificial shrimp, like DOA shrimp, one of my favorite artificial lures. Inshore is that DOA shrimp, and they do catch sheep's head because sheep's head eat shrimp. Almost everything eats a shrimp, but it's not something that, hey, let's go target sheep's head and let's grab some artificial baits. No, if you're going to target sheep's head, it's typically cut bait, whether clams, oysters, barnacles, fiddler crabs, or cut shrimp for sure. Cut shrimp's pretty much the most common, but cut clams and cut oysters are probably my favorite, right up there with the fiddler crabs. All right, we're getting some good questions rolling in, so I'm trying to do my best to keep up with your questions and copy and paste them so I can make sure to answer them as we go. Another question I saw was, I'm excited for the 28th. It's already booked, but I could go for another one. If they give half price for the 39-hour one, I'll join. Wish we could. This time of year, unfortunately, with the last chance for gag grouper coming up, those 39-hour trips are definitely filling up. So that last 39-hour trip for gag grouper, December 29th, was a brand new trip. We just added into the schedule. We talked about it last week on the live show, and it is almost full. It is almost sold out. So unfortunately, we're not running any specials on that trip, but definitely can't hurt to ask, right? Let's see here. Next question. I don't understand that question. Next question was, when do the shark trips start back up? We do offer those shark trips And those are in the warmer months. So our shark trip will start back up late March, and it will run into late September. When it's warmer, we have more sharks in the Gulf of Mexico. We have sharks in our area 365 days a year. In the cooler months, we have plenty of sharks out there. They're just bigger sharks. Typically, in the cooler months, we see great whites come into the Gulf of Mexico. We have mako sharks in the area. We have big, huge hammerheads, big tiger sharks. Typically, if you catch a shark when it's cooler out, it's a bigger, more aggressive kind of apex shark. In the summertime, we have a lot more sharks in my opinion, and we definitely see more prolific numbers of species and stuff. But there a lot of times you're seeing the more aggressive, smaller sharks for sure. So the summertime is when we prefer to do that shark trip because we get more action. And typically we do catch some pretty big sharks. A big shark on that trip is 8, 9, 10 foot long. I ran that trip for a few years when I first got my captain's license back when I was 22, 23 years old. And we caught quite a few 8, 9, 10 foot sharks, tiger sharks, hammerhead sharks, lemon sharks, a few duskies. So you never know what you're going to pull in on those shark fishing trips that we offer on Friday nights around the moon phases from March to late September. We go out there and we anchor up and we put out 3 or 4 big shark rods, and we take up to 8 people, and the 8 people sit around the boat and we wait for these shark rods to go off. When a shark rod goes off, we have a set structure. All right, this group's watching that rod, this group's watching this rod. If your group's rod goes off, you get an opportunity to reel and fight that fish first. If you get tired, we hand it off to another group, and it kind of goes around the boat. Then once we land that fish, we take a few photos, release it, and hopefully we'll catch another one, and then everybody tries to get an opportunity. That's the goal, is for everybody to get an opportunity to reel on a big shark. But sometimes it is fishing, sometimes it's a little tough, and we typically don't kill the sharks. It is a catch and release style trip. So just keep that in mind. If you're planning on going shark fishing with us, it is a catch and release trip. And you're not holding your rod. You're sitting back, relaxing, drinking a beer, waiting for that rod to go off. Now, another question I saw was, do you think amberjack season will open up in May? Typically, no. Or not, I shouldn't say typically. My opinion and my guess is we probably won't see a May amberjack season. Amberjack season is supposed to be May, and then it closes August, September, and October. So it's supposed to be May, August, September, and October. This past year, the May season didn't open. We just had August, September, and October. This year for 2020, I would put some pretty decent money betting on the fact that we probably will not see that May October or that May amberjack season. So probably not going to see that May amberjack season. But good question. I'm banking on August, September, and October. We should see that part of amberjack season, but I don't think we'll see the May season. Another question was, what do you focus on during the 39-hour trip when gag grouper season closes? Great question. When gag grouper season closes, there is tons of other fish in the sea to catch. Basically, come January 1st, everything is open except for amberjack, gag grouper, and red snapper, and triggerfish too. So we have scamp grouper, we have red grouper, we have mangrove snapper, lane snapper, yellowtail snapper, we have almaco jacks, banded rudderfish, we have porgies, vermilions, we have wahoo, tuna, kingfish possible. There's tons of fish to catch. As far as what we target, we'd be targeting red grouper, scamp grouper, mangrove snapper, and we've been possibly catching some of those pelagic trips too. So you never know what you're going to catch on those 39-hour trips, but definitely once gag grouper season closes, there's still tons of fish to catch. And January typically have lighter loads. So we have a 44-hour trip in January. We've got 3 39-hour trips in January. So great opportunities to get out there, to go deep, and to catch plenty of fish. Plus, it gives you a chance to try the trips with lighter loads. So if you want an opportunity to do a 39-hour trip, January is a great time to do it because you get a chance to get over that learning curve with less people on the boat. You get more one-on-one time with the captain and crew. Will has more time to spend with you, so it's definitely that learning curve opportunity for that reason. So highly recommend the January, February trips for that reason. Let's see here. Another question was, if this is my husband's first trip out with you guys, when would be the best time to go? And that's one of my favorite questions I get quite a bit is, what is the best time of year to go fishing? Well, it really depends on you. What do you want to catch? What do you want to do on the water? What's your goal? If you tell me, hey, what's the best time of year to go? I want to catch red snapper. Well, red snapper is only open 60, 65 days a year. So you have to go when red snapper season is open. And that's going to be for 2020. It's going to open June 1st, and it should be open till around the first week in August. I'm guessing it'll be open. I'm guaranteeing it'll be open June 1st. And I'm guessing it's going to close around August 6th. And that is the for hire red snapper season that we're talking about. But if you want to catch gag grouper, the best time to get gag grouper would be late October, November, and especially December. If you want to catch red grouper, typically late spring to early fall and anywhere in between, great time for red grouper. Mangrove snapper, and almost every snapper species bites best in the warmer summer months. Hogfish bite best in the cooler weather months, October to April. Kingfish spring and fall, mahi through the summertime, wahoo's kind of hit or miss through the whole year. So it kind of depends on what you want to catch, and that will dictate the best time of year to go out fishing. Another comment I saw that I really liked is, it would be nice if the governor extended grouper season like he did with red snapper season because of the weather. Well, that brings up a great point. The governor was able to extend the red snapper season because red snapper this year for private recreational anglers was controlled by the FWC, even in federal waters. However, what we're talking about now is gag grouper, which are under federal control in federal waters. So even if the governor wanted to extend the season, he couldn't. So that is a good point. We do have a lot of bad weather disrupting our ability to catch those gag grouper, but unfortunately, no one's going to extend that season because of it, because the feds and their private recreational data collection system called MRIP is a very slow working system. Right now, it's December 22nd, so they're only going to have landings probably through like August, September, and maybe into early October. So the Fed system is almost 3 months behind on landings. So they're not nimble like the states. The state of Florida is a week behind on landings. So they're able to look at a season. If they have a 30-day red snapper season, by the end of that 30-day season, within a week and a half, 2 weeks, they're going to have finalized landings and say, hey, we didn't hit our quota. Let's open up more days. So the state is very nimble. When you take that and you exponentially grow it by another 4 states and make the entire Gulf of Mexico, that's a lot more anglers, that's a lot more landings, and the feds are a little slower getting that data collection. So the possibility of an extended gag grouper season because of rough weather is not possible. It's totally off the table, unfortunately, as much as I would love that. So right now, guys, we are at 350 live viewers. So we are 50 people shy of giving away that 39-hour trip for free. We still got about 15 minutes left here. Still got some questions to answer. So make sure you tell your friends to tune in. Someone could win a free 39-hour trip. If we don't get to 400 live viewers, you're still going to get a chance at a half-price 39-hour trip. Another question, another question I saw was, how often do you do maintenance on the long range trip boats? I think that's what the question is. We do maintenance once to twice a week, depending on the time of year. This time of year, we're a little slower, so we do oil changes typically once a week, maybe once every week and a half. During our busy season, we can do oil changes and scheduled maintenance to those boats almost twice a week. It really depends on the amount of hours. The boat only runs about 200 to about 400 hours, depending on the boat, depending on the motor, before it gets some in-depth service. So, for example, a 39-hour trip, that's almost 15 to 20 hours, probably more like 22 hours on that motor. So only, see, I'm terrible at math. Only like 10, 12 trips, and all of a sudden we need to do oil changes and scheduled maintenance. And then in between those 39-hour trips, we have half-day trips, 10-hour trips. So those boats really, really need maintenance quite a bit. And it's preventative maintenance. The goal is we spend a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of energy doing a lot of preventative maintenance, doing oil changes much more early and much more frequently and often than needed, in order to keep those boats running smoothly, effectively, efficiently, to keep the quality of the trip high, the price of the ticket low, and then also to make sure that you're safe as possible out on the water. So we do a lot of maintenance to these boats, a lot more often than required, and we spend a lot of money on extra parts to have it on hand, so that way if something does fail, we are able to fix it on the water or on the fly or at the dock, to hopefully not have to cancel trips due to maintenance failures. Because when you're offshore fishing, you already have to worry about the weather. You already have to worry about whether the fish are going to cooperate with you or not. It is so frustrating to get down to the boat all excited to go fishing and to have clients standing on the dock ready to go, their car's parked, their tickets are paid for, and then something stupid happens, like a fuel pump fails, a belt breaks, a bilge alarm starts going off, or some type of electrical system issue occurs. And it's rare that this stuff happens, but that's part of offshore fishing. When you're offshore fishing, you got to worry about the weather, and you got to look at the fishing variables, and you got to also take into account mechanical issues. Luckily, we're very blessed. Very blessed. I knocked on wood. That's what that was. We're very blessed to have a great team, a great set of captains, an amazing set of crew, a great fleet supervisor, and some awesome boats. So we're very blessed lately to not have, again, hopefully any mechanical issues that have affected our ability to go fishing. And that is purely and 110% due to our great team and our rigid maintenance schedule that we stick to. Let's see here. The next question was, how's the hogfish bite on the 10-hour trips in February? The hogfish bite is really good through around late October, early November, all the way through almost late April, late April into early May. The cooler weather months from the late fall to the early spring and even into mid-spring, depending on the weather, is a great time for hogfish. But it really depends on these fronts. January, February, we still have the fronts, and those fronts really affect the nearshore water. So when that nearshore water gets stirred up and it gets muddy, those hogfish don't want to feed as well. So the best time to target hogfish is right before a front, or a few days after that front goes through and the water calms down and clears up a little bit. So you got to really watch the weather in November, December, January, February, March, and April. You got to watch the weather and make sure you're timing your trips around the cold fronts. Another question was about our birthday trip. They were asking about the birthday trip and can you sign up for a birthday trip on our website. Our website reservation system is awesome, but it doesn't do discounted reservations. In order to make a reservation online, the only option is just full price, unless you're a Regulars Club member, unless you have a gift certificate, or if you have a coupon with a coupon code. The birthday trip, Under info, you can scroll. It was under info. Let's see here. Maybe it's, I don't know where they put it. All right, let's go to search and search birthday trip. We just redid our website not too recently, and I don't know where he moved the birthday trip idea, but you can use that little search button that I hit and type in birthday, and you can find the free birthday trip page. But the free birthday trip does include a free 5-hour half day or a 10-hour all day, or you can get a $90 off a specialty trip like our 12-hour trip, 39-hour trip, or our 5-hour trophy shark trip. But just keep in mind, it must be your actual birthday. In order to receive a free trip, you must bring at least one full fare. So meaning you bring a friend who pays normal rate, and it's good for any boat trips, not including rentals or private fishing charters. But it gives you a free 39-hour trip, free 10-hour all day, or $90 off a specialty trip. But it has to be your actual birthday. You have to have your ID, and you got to bring a friend who's willing to pay full price. But the birthday trip, you want to call us to sign up for that birthday trip. You can't do it over the website. So another question I saw is, what is my favorite fish to catch? What's your favorite fish to catch, and what puts up the best fight? Well, I can tell you the fish that puts up the best fight is not my favorite to catch. I would say the best fight, pound for pound, would probably be an amberjack or a big gag grouper, and the big gag only puts up a good fight for the first 20 to 30 seconds. Once you get them up off the bottom, they kind of chill out a little bit. But an amberjack will fight you from the time you hook them until the time he comes into the boat. Those amberjack fight really hard, really strong, and really long. So amberjack are not fun to catch, in my opinion, for that reason. I had a lot of fun chasing amberjack and wrestling amberjack at a younger age. When I was 9, 10, 12, 13 years old, I would fish that 39-hour trip a lot, and that was my favorite thing, dropping big baits for amberjack. Loved it, but I'm definitely a little spoiled, and I'm over it. But they are definitely probably the best fighting fish that we catch. What's my favorite fish to catch? It would definitely be mangrove snapper. Mangrove snapper, hands down, my favorite fish to catch. One of my favorite eating fish, and to me, it's one of those fish that kind of separates the average angler from the experienced angler, because in order to catch mangrove snapper consistently, to catch them often, and to put the biggest number of mangrove snapper on the deck as consistently as possible, it really shows the expertise of that angler, because they take some serious finesse, some skill, a lot of luck, and making sure that you're doing everything right. You're hooking that bait so it doesn't spin. You're stretching out that leader and presenting that bait naturally on the bottom. You're holding bottom and your lead's not moving up and down on the bottom. You're making sure that you feel everything, because as soon as that mangrove starts to bite, you start setting the hook by cranking as hard and as fast as you can. You're using a double snell rig. Brining your bait helps. Cutting the plugs help a lot. Definitely all different factors to help you catch more mangrove snapper. But as far as those different factors go, you can go onto our website, and under fishing trips, you can scroll down to the fishing tips and tricks page. And because mangrove snapper are one of my favorite eaten fish, we do have a lot of good videos here. One video on how to tie a double snell rig, which is paramount when targeting those mangrove snapper. One video about, let's see here, I think it's down towards the bottom. So one video on how to rig a double snell bait for mangrove snapper. We have a mangrove snapper fishing tips video. We have a how to brine your bait for fishing for snapper. And then we also have a braided line fishing techniques as well. So lots of cool videos there on our website. Again, you would go to fishing trips and you'd scroll down to fishing tips and tricks. to see all those videos. We got a lot of them on our website, and a lot of them are specifically targeted towards catching mangrove snapper more effectively, because I love mangrove snapper fishing. And we even have the mangrove snapper mastery course with Salt Strong. If you're interested in that, Salt Strong has that really cool deal going on right now where you can go onto their website, and they're actually running buy one get two free on our courses right now. So really good opportunity to catch or to get that deal. Let me copy and paste this link for you guys. All right, the link says it's working, so I'm gonna go ahead and copy it in here. That link I'm just posting in the comments for you guys. It's pretty cool. Salt Strong created this page. You can get the grouper mastery course, the red snapper mastery course, and my favorite, the mangrove snapper mastery course, for the price of one. Plus, they throw in a free 1-year membership into the Salt Strong Insider Club too. So you get 3 courses and a year in the club, all for the price of 1 course or 1 year in the club, which is pretty good deal at that link I popped into the video. So let's see here. What other questions? Sorry. The next question was, the Fish Rules app is what I go to for fishing regulations. Is that good to follow for regulations? Well, yes, it is. That is the app that I use. That is the app that the National Marine Fisheries Gulf Council uses. The Gulf Council actually has a contract with the Fish Rules app. So when you go into our website, hubbardsmarina.com, and you go to fishing trips, you can scroll down to fishing rules and regulations. On that fishing rules and regulations, you will find, look at it, the Fish Rules app. And there's a button to download it right to your phone, right from our website. That's how much I like the Fish Rules app. It works really, really well. And then down towards the bottom, we have the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council, their regulations linked. However, they're still showing the 2019 regulations. The best way to keep up to date with the Gulf of Mexico federal waters fishing regulations is by downloading the Fish Rules app. I'm pretty good friends with the staff over there, and the first thing they do when something changes is they log into the Fish Rules app themselves and change it physically on that Fish Rules app. So when you log into Fish Rules, you're able to search the name of the fish. So we're going to search lane snapper because we know lane snapper just had a fisheries changes. So I'm going to search for lane snapper, and you'll see here towards the bottom of the phone, I got to turn it sideways so you can see it. It actually shows the location. Man, it's hard to do. It shows the location of where you're fishing. So when you search for the fish, my phone's about to die. So I'm going to pick just a different fish because I don't want to search for it and have my phone die while I'm trying to show you this. When you search for a fish, you can pick the fish out, and then you can see in that upper corner there, it says see federal regulations, and you can actually click that, and then it will say see local. So you can toggle on that upper corner of the app. You can toggle between see local and see federal regulations. And when you toggle to see federal regulations, that's going to show you what the regulations are in federal waters, which is where we're fishing. If you're past 9 miles from the beach, you are in federal waters. So you want to make sure that you're looking at the right regulations. And that's the beauty of the Fish Rules app, is it looks at your location and it tells you the regulations for your location. So if you don't know if you're in state or federal waters, the Fish Rules app will tell you. And it works offshore. So if you download the app, you look at your favorite fish, you select the fish that you're going to target, it'll actually download that to the app. So when you're offshore, out of cell range, you can still access it. Now, if you're on our boats, you're not allowed to have a cell phone, but we will have accessed it for you, and we will know the regulations. If you're out in your buddy's boat, it's a great way to keep track, or your own boat, it's a great way to keep track of the regulations. Another question I saw is, what will I be catching on the 12-hour extreme trip the first week in March? March triggerfish season opens. Triggerfish open March 1st, and they are open typically until around middle of May. So if you go out March 1st on a 12-hour extreme trip, we'd be targeting red grouper, scamp grouper, mangrove snapper, and triggerfish. So great time to catch those triggerfish when they open in March. And triggerfish are one of the best eaten fish out there. So the next question was, when does triggerfish open? They open March 1st. Let's see here. What are the advantages of bringing your own gear versus renting gear, say on a 10-hour trip? Well, I'm going to go back to the website to answer this question because on our website, spent a lot of time and energy under fishing trips. If you look at the, in this case, you're asking about the 10-hour trip. So let's pull up the 10-hour trip page. We spent a lot of time and energy putting a lot of information, almost too much information on our website. Actually, our booking company that we use, the booking system we use, they told us I have to take some of the information off the website. And I told them, no, I'm not doing it, because I spent a lot of time typing all this stuff up and trying to make it as easy as possible and as in-depth as possible. But finally made it, scrolling through all that information. Here is all the tackle suggestions for a 10-hour trip. Now, you can notice here, there's endless options for tackle. But if you're a first-time angler or beginning angler, the rod rental works well. If you're a more advanced angler, you might want to bring your own tackle. And the reason I say this right off the bat is because the question that was asked, let me reread that question. So the question was, I deleted the question. What are the advantages of bringing your own gear versus renting gear? Well, if you're bringing your own gear, the advantage is you are more advanced angler. You have your own gear, and you're able to bring a different setup for each species that you're targeting. So, for example, on a 10-hour trip, right here, let's see here. So you could bring, if you're not renting a rod and reel and you're bringing your own, you could bring a 4/0 reel. And then right here, when I go out fishing on a 10-hour trip, I'll bring my 4,000 to 5,000 series spinning reel with 20 to 30 pound main line, 30 pound fluorocarbon leader, 4-ounce hooks, and 1 to 2 ounce weights with a 4 to 5 foot leader. Also high gear ratio, or even 2-speed 4/0 size reel, 40 to 50 pound main line, 40 pound leader. I'm literally reading the website. So, and that's not to be facetious. I wrote that stuff myself. So the main thing that I'm trying to describe to you is, if you have a question about tackle or what to bring on a trip, I wrote the website myself, and I spent a lot of time making sure that it's up to date. And I go through it quite a bit to update it. So that website information is very good, and hopefully you enjoy it. So if you ever find anything on the website that needs updating, don't hesitate to let me know. But as far as the advantage of bringing your own tackle for a 10-hour trip, is you're going to have that specialty tackle that's more geared towards those specific fish that you're targeting specifically. For example, if I'm going fishing on a 10-hour, I'm going to bring a spinning rod and reel for hogfish. I'm going to bring a conventional reel for my mangrove snapper and my grouper fishing. And I might even bring another rod for a pitch rod or a flatline rod. So I'm going to have 3 different rods and reels, each one meant for a different type of fishing. Whereas if you rent a rod and reel, you're going to have one rod and reel that does a little bit of everything well. So it's not specifically meant for specific species. So it's not as specifically tailored, as guess you would say. So definitely there is an advantage to bringing your own tackle, because you're going to be more specifically tailored to what you're targeting if you're an advanced angler and you have your own tackle. But if you don't have your own tackle, the rod rentals work great. That's why we do it. That's why we provide them, is they do a little bit of everything well, and they will work to catch you fish. It's just, if you want to bring your own specialty tackle, if you're an advanced angler, you should bring your own tackle. Another question was, do you need a license, a fishing license, to go on our trips? No. In the state of Florida, anywhere in the state of Florida, East Coast, West Coast, the Keys, Panama City, Destin, Pensacola, if you're fishing in the state of Florida on a charter boat or party boat, you're paying money to go fishing. If they tell you you need a license, run, because that is an illegal charter. In the state of Florida, East Coast, West Coast, doesn't matter. If you're in salt water and you're paying to go fishing, you do not need a license to fish. You're covered by the boat's state charter license. It's an umbrella permit. So when you're out fishing with us, you don't need a license. And if you go out fishing with another charter in the state of Florida and they tell you that you need a license, call the cops. Don't get on the boat. Get your money back. Go the other way. It is an illegal operation. And there's a lot of them around that do that. So definitely a big red flag if you're ever told you need a fishing license in the state of Florida on a charter boat or party boat. Now, other states, that's not true. Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, you do need your license when you go out on a charter boat. In state of Florida, that is not the case. So just so you know on that one. Another question, do you guys ever catch big sharks? We catch big sharks quite a bit on the shark trip we talked about earlier. We also catch big sharks on our long-range trips, occasionally on 39-hour trips, 44-hour trips, long-range charters. We hook into big sharks. We had the Hub. I think it was, forget when it was, but the Hub this past year, I think it was early spring this past year. They hooked into a great white shark while they were out private charter fishing. So yes, we do hook big sharks. Do we catch them all the time? No. In the case of that big great white, they just hooked it. It didn't even know it was hooked. It just kind of cruised up, said hello, and then broke off as it took off. But we've caught 10, 12 foot sharks quite often. And those sharks we can land. The 14, 15, 16 foot sharks, I wouldn't even want to try to land one of those. Plus, we don't kill sharks. We just get them up to the boat, take a few photos, and let them go. Still have nightmares. We killed like a 10.5. It was almost 11 foot bull shark. It was like 400 pounds. It was huge. Killed this shark, drug it up on the beach. This was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe even longer. It was a long time ago because Anthony had just gotten his license. Joe and I were working on getting our license. And so that was probably like 6, 7 years ago. Long story short, Anthony catches this huge bull shark. The client really wanted to take it home and said he wanted to eat it. And it was legal. It was perfectly legal to do what they did. They killed the shark. They brought it in. We got death threats. We got letters in the mail. I had teachers having their students write us letters. So we got bags of hate mail for killing that shark. So nowadays we don't kill sharks anymore. And we don't do it. Long story short, we just don't do it. I could keep going, but maybe later. So let's see here. Another question I saw is, can you demonstrate how to cut and hook a dead thread fin? Well, not in my office here, but on our website, those videos that I showed you before on our fishing tips page, there is a video on how I cut those thread fins and how I put it on the hook. That was right on the website under fishing trips. Scroll down to fishing tips and tricks. Click on that fishing tips and tricks page and scroll down it to the how to rig a double snell bait for mangrove snapper is right here.
Hubbard's Marina, talking to you today about how to rig a double snell rig. Now, we've done videos on how to tie a double snell rig. Today, we're going to show you how to rig a double snell rig. Rigging is very important to make sure that double snell bait gets down to bottom very quickly, hydrodynamically, and making sure it doesn't spin. Tying a double snell rig is easy to do, but once you rig it correctly to make sure it doesn't spin and doesn't cause tangles on the way down is another challenge we're going to cover today. So first step for rigging a double snell rig is taking a piece of fluorocarbon. I always use fluorocarbon fluorocarbon for my mangrove snapper fishing. Right here, we're gonna tie a double snell rig for our 39-hour fishing trip. So I'm gonna use some 50-pound fluorocarbon. I'm gonna pull out about 5 feet of fluorocarbon here. And the reason for that, guys, is I want a little longer leader. A, because the double snell rig takes some line, and B, because typically that gives my hooks a little further from my lead. It gives me an opportunity to present that bait a little bit more naturally. Now, to tie a double snell rig, guys, you have to have both ends of the line available. You can't have one end tied to your swivel. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on how to tie this, because I've already shown you that in other videos, but we're going to show you real quickly now. So first step to tying a double snell rig is putting that monofilament right through the eyelet of that first hook, and always start through the front of the hook, and then you just pinch the line there. And now I'm going to wrap that fluorocarbon around the hook. A little easier if you have a little extra line. There we go. So once you get it started, you're going to wrap it about 7 to 8 times, and then pinch that leader. And now you started through the front, so you're gonna finish through the back on that first hook. Really, really simple, easy knot. Once you get that fluorocarbon bent, this fluorocarbon's a little bit stiffer than monofilament, so sometimes starting that double snell rig is a little bit of a challenge. The first hook, we start through the front and finish through the back. The second hook, we're gonna start through the back and finish through the back. So spacing on this is depending on the size of my bait. Now these are 6/0 hooks and 50-pound fluorocarbon for an overnight trip. So I'm gonna put these hooks a little bit further apart because I'm gonna be using a bigger chunk of thread fin. Now I'm gonna leave about a 1/2 inch between the apex of that second hook and the eyelet of that first hook. So now that I've got my spacing right, I'm just gonna do the same knot as I did on that first hook. There we go, got it started, and just about 7 to 8 turns on the shank of that hook, pinch it, and again on that second hook, we started through the back and we're gonna finish through the back. And now we've got our double snell rig all complete. We're gonna tighten this down, make it a little seated better, and now we've got our double snell rig ready to hook on our bait. To hook your bait, you gotta prepare your bait. So preparing your bait for a double snell rig, we're gonna do our mangrove snapper special. This is called a thread fin or sardine plug, depending on what bait you use. Right now we've got a nice thread fin here, so we're gonna plug them up. First step, trim that tail off. So trim the tail, and then we're gonna trim the head, and then we're gonna trim our belly cavity. So now we've got a nice juicy chunk of bait here with the belly cavity open, plenty of guts oozing out, and the tail cavity open as well. And we've got a nice chunk of bait that's gonna be going to bottom naturally, looking very natural on the bottom, gonna be emitting a lot of smell, and we're gonna hook it and rig it nice and straight so it goes to bottom quickly. So how to start this rig is we always put the head side or the thicker side of this bait on that last hook. You want this first hook or the bottom hook furthest from your lead towards the fatter end of the bait. The reason why is we want this skinnier end of the bait pointed at your lead. That way, as the lead drags this to bottom, it's gonna go down to the bottom very hydrodynamically and it's not gonna spin on you. So the first step here to rigging this bait is you're gonna put the tip or barb of that hook perpendicular to that silver and blue line, which denotes the spine or backbone of this bait. And I'm gonna go underneath that backbone and I'm gonna pull that hook out towards the other side. Once I've got it out on the other side of the bait, I'm simply just gonna spin that hook shank to where it's parallel with the silver and blue line. Now that I've got that hook shank parallel, I'm gonna go in with this second hook and same thing. Underneath the backbone, out the other side of the bait and turn it parallel. So now what you're left with is a super straight, clean piece of bait that's gonna go to the bottom very quickly because that skinnier side is pointed down towards the lead. So this is called a double snelled bait. And you can see here as it sits on the bottom, come a little closer. So as it sits on the bottom, it doesn't matter where that mangrove snapper bites this bait, he's gonna have one of these hooks in his mouth. So a double snell rig really enables you to catch more fish and be more efficient especially when you're fishing for those quick biting mangrove snapper. This was how to rig a double snell rig. Again, Captain Dylan Hubbard from Hubbard's Marina. Remember, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too busy.
I love watching my old videos. Now, that was an older video, so keep in mind that was J-hooks. We use circle hooks when targeting bottom reef fish in federal waters. With natural bait, if you're fishing in federal waters for bottom reef species, you do have to use circle hooks. Always make sure you have a venting tool or a descending device, and you want to make sure you have a de-hooking tool. We have a Barracuda Tackle. If you're familiar with Barracuda Tackle, they're a local company. We're working closely with them because all of us at Hubbard's Marina, all our captains, all our crew, we have our own de-hooking tools that we've used for decades that are totally bad to the bone, that will unhook any hook, no matter where it's hooked, in seconds. And we're developing that very tool with Barracuda Tackle. So we're very excited about it. We should have it in a matter of hopefully days at this point. Barracuda Tackle has been working really hard to get this manufactured. When they get it manufactured, we're going to get hundreds of them in our shop. We're going to spend a lot of money getting a lot of them in our shop. So once we have those de-hooking tools in the shop, I'll definitely be making videos showing you how to use them, how well they work, and you'll definitely want to pick a few of them up. They're going to be made out of stainless steel. They're going to be lasting for lifetimes as long as you don't drop them in the water, and they're going to work really well because it's super important when you're offshore fishing to make sure that you're unhooking that fish quickly, easily. You're not using pliers to rip their lip or deform their gill plate, or if they swallow that circle hook, you want to make sure you use that de-hooking tool so that way it's not messing up its gill rakers. That fish gets off the hook quickly, you vent it quickly or descend it quickly to get it back down to bottom if it's out of season. For example, red snapper, they're closed 10 months out of the year. So if you catch a red snapper when you're offshore fishing, which sometimes you do, a lot of times you do, because they're so prolific and they're so aggressive, you want to make sure you have the right tools for the job. So that is coming soon. But we are pretty much out of time. I tried to get to as many of these questions as I could. I didn't get to all the questions. I'm going to do the best I can to go back through the comments tonight or tomorrow morning and answer any questions that I did not get to live. I'll type my answers to you guys. So make sure you stay tuned to your notifications because I will answer every question to the best of my ability. If I didn't answer it live during the video, I'll go back through. But real quickly, want to talk about sea bass. I know we've mentioned sea bass the last couple shows. Sea bass is one of our crew members. He was in the hospital dealing with some pretty serious medical issues. He is out of the hospital. He is at home. He's with his family. He's recovering nicely. He lost a lot of weight, and he definitely lost a little bit of progress. But he's recovering nicely. He's getting back to fighting shape quickly, and he'll be back to work here soon, hopefully. So sea bass is doing well. Thank you for your thoughts and prayers, and thank you to those of you who donated to that GoFundMe that some of sea bass's friends started and that we passed around on social media. I do want to mention again, we added those special new 12-hour extreme trips December 30th and December 31st. Hopefully that weather will back down a little bit so we're able to pull those trips out. Don't forget, we have that new 39-hour trip December 29th. It is almost full, but there's still a few spots left if you want to jump on that trip. I am planning to go with my father. Hopefully my son will be doing well. He is fighting a little bit of a sickness, so as long as he's doing okay, I will be on that boat. But if he's not doing okay, I guarantee you I will not be fishing because I have priorities, and he is definitely one of them. But I want to go fishing. I need to go fishing. So Sunday, December 29th, that 39-hour trip, we're planning to go. Hopefully the weather and everything will go get aligned, and those stars will align, and I'll be able to go fishing with my dad because that'll be a lot of fun. It's my dad's birthday, December 29th. So don't forget as well, Sunday night, December 29th, that's this coming Sunday, we will not have a live stream show. I planned that 5 months ago because it's the weekend following Christmas, but now thinking about going fishing on the December 29th 39 hour, it also makes sense we wouldn't have a live stream show. So this is our last live stream show of 2019. Our next live stream show will be Sunday, January 5th. So this coming Sunday, no live show. Next Sunday after that, January 5th, we'll start back up. So make sure you write that in your calendar. Don't get upset if you tune in next Sunday, December 29th. There will not be a live stream show. Also, dang. Also, don't forget, Saturday, January 18th, Bass Pro Shops has a special guide outfitters day, and they have asked me to do a seminar to showcase that day. So Saturday, January 18th at Bass Pro Shops is going to be a super special day. Hopefully you can join us at Bass Pro Shops Saturday, January 18th. 2 p.m. is going to be our seminar, and we're going to be talking all about nearshore and offshore fishing, kind of like what we do during this live stream video, but it will be in person at the Tampa Bass Pro Shops location. So hopefully you can join us for that event. We're going to give away free trips at that event, just like we do during our live stream show, and hopefully you can join us that day, because we'll have a table set up at Bass Pro Shops. All the other guides and pro staff for Bass Pro Shops will be there as well. So it'll be a really cool day to come out and visit the Tampa Bass Pro Shops. I just dropped the link to that event in the comments. So once the video is done, make sure you check out that link. We'd love to see you January 18th, 2 p.m. at Bass Pro Shops Tampa. And then we talked about that Salt Strong deal. They still got that going on if you want to join that Salt Strong link, because you could get buy one, get 3 free, basically. All you do is visit that link we dropped into the thing earlier for that Grouper Mastery course and that Mangrove Snapper and Red Snapper Mastery course. So it is time to wrap this thing up and see who won a half-price 39-hour trip. Our live show has been getting more and more popular. It was reaching 300 live viewers every week. So about 3 weeks ago, we made it 400 live viewers to win a free trip. But I still kept giving away free 39-hour trips for 300 live viewers. But last week, we decided to finally go ahead and pop it up to 400. Right now, we have 60 watching live on YouTube. We have 275 watching live on Facebook. So we're a little shy of that 400 mark, but I have faith in 2020 we'll get there. So tonight we're giving away a half-price 39-hour trip for one person. Let's see who won. Drum roll, please. Christmas present going to... Let's see who wins. Jim Watt. Triggers are tasty. I agree, Jim. Triggerfish are a very tasty fish. I really enjoy eating triggerfish, and I'm looking forward to that season opening back up. But Jim Watt, you just won a half-price 39-hour trip. The rest of you guys, we will see you January 5th for our next live stream show. Hopefully we'll see you January 18th at Bass Pro Shops Tampa. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too busy, make sure you join us for a 5-hour half day or 10-hour all day, December 26th to about December 30th. That weather looks good near shore. The offshore weather not looking so hot right now, but we're hoping and praying that will change, because we need to get the last week there between Christmas and New Year's of good weather so we could take advantage of that gag grouper season while it's open. And don't forget to tune in to our Facebook page, our YouTube page. We're on Snapchat. We're on Instagram. Just simply search Hubbard's Marina. And don't forget to follow Captain Dylan Hubbard on Instagram. I've opened up my personal Instagram page, and we're doing a lot of stories. We're giving a lot of tips and tricks away. So check out Captain Dylan Hubbard on Instagram. And we're trying to really beef up that page. So some cool tips coming through the Captain Dylan Hubbard Instagram page. Check it out. You guys have a great night and happy Sunday. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night, y'all.